Welcome to Cinema Chop Shop. Watch, chop, retrofit.
My brother there, and they have like a mountain cabin that it's nice, and they cut us like a huge deal. Apparently, Airbnb takes like between a third and a half of whatever. So yeah, so if we just book it directly with her, which she lets us do because we know him, you know, it's like so much cheaper. So,
but this is not a R&R podcast. Welcome to Cinema Chop Shop.
I didn't know I was on the banter.
I didn't know we were even... I sneezed in the microphone.
This is a movie and pop culture adjacent podcast. Today's episode is going to be a lot of fun. It's our first foray into the pop culture adjacency. We're going to talk about cinematic music videos.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to this one.
And I want to start off by welcoming to the show our special guest, Joey Poole.
Hello.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
And as always, riding shotgun, the Regulator, Chelsea.
Hi.
Hi. And I, of course, am your host, Brewboss, Shawn. Music videos. What?
I'm just salty at you. You didn't tell us we were starting.
Well, sometimes they're like, more honest when you don't announce it.
Cinema Verite, podcast Verite, banter.
Yes. You get it. All right, music videos. Would anyone care to wager a guess? I think you already cheated, yeah?
I didn't cheat.
You just came across it. I came across it. I read it.
I knew this.
Okay.
I told
the first
you.
music video was as agreed upon by a lot of people. What was the first music video, quote unquote?
Now I'm nervous. I don't want to say.
I'm thinking something to do with A Hard Day's Night, maybe?
Further back than that.
Further back, okay.
The first agreed upon music videos from 1877.
Yeah.
Whoa!
It is to the tune of Lost Little Child by Joseph Stern and Edward Mark.
That's a banger right there.
It was a moving slideshow set to their song recording. So, unfortunately, there weren't a lot of places or people who had the ability to play the video.
You don't say.
Yeah, right. However, the sheet music for the song did sell 2 million copies, so...
Woo!
Wow.
That's a banger. Tony Bennett claims to have created the first modern music video. He was filmed walking alongside the Serpentine in Hyde Park in London. Set to the song Stranger in Paradise, it aired on shows including American Bandstand. Now, that's from his autobiography, so I don't know how much that's him trying to grab it for himself or not. But in 1974, the Australian TV show Countdown premiered, and it's kind of credited as the first that showed promotional clips for the songs that they were using as their countdown on television. And that's kind of like the birth of the music video
This was
review.
the 60s, you said?
1974.
70s, okay.
And then in 75, the band Queen premiered a promotional video for Bohemian Rhapsody. It was on Top of the Pops in the UK, so that got a huge audience. And it is credited as being the first global hit in which the promotional video was central in marketing the hit song.
So the rock opera, Tommy, etc., predates music videos, I guess. That would have been
yeah. I mean, that would
late
be
60s, early 70s.
Yeah, I guess that would be kind of like your long form video.
Mm-hmm.
I guess we're trying to like funnel it down into a single song set to video, I guess. To your point, though, yeah. I mean,
I sort of cheated on my list then later.
You didn't cheat.
No, that's
fine.
There are no rules.
We're rebels.
In 1981, videos found their permanent home on MTV 24/7 with the airing of Video Killed the Radio Star, the first video in their rotation. And they continue playing music videos until, God, when?
God, it ended like...
Early 2000s?
No, earlier than that. They started getting into like all those TV shows. But it still was like a 50-50 kind of balance kind of thing.
Yeah.
They don't show videos at all now, I don't think.
No, you have to watch like MTV2 or like MTV
Classic.
or Dorm.
Or YouTube.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's...
And that's kind of what where it kind of is today. You've got YouTube, you have Vimeo, and then some might argue that TikTok is kind of taken over as a music video format.
No.
You don't think so?
Absolutely not.
The amateur produced.
I refuse.
The democratization of
I
the music
will not.
video.
Right.
Those dances are so stupid. If I have to see anymore.
But we've seen those dances bleed into the artist's actual official videos after the fact. So
I understand that. And Doja's was not stupid. Hers was not. All the rest of them are so dumb.
So I want to know from each of you, what was your personal relationship with music videos? How did you consume them as a child? When did they become significant to you? Give me your story.
Well, I've talked on this podcast before about how my knowledge of 80s blockbuster movies is somewhat scant because we didn't really go to the movies, and my parents didn't get cable until after I moved out. So my relationship with videos was almost like, I mean, it wasn't exactly Footloose at my house, but it was, rock and roll was sort of frowned upon to the point where, as I sit here in my Black Sabbath t-shirt, when I tried to slide a Black Sabbath tape under my mom's nose at Kmart when I was maybe 12, she was perplexed that I suddenly had taken a shine to African-American gospel music. And so we walked around the store for a few minutes, and I thought, oh my God, she's really going to let me get this. And she picked it up and sort of looked at the back and, did that whole, we sold our souls for rock and roll. And so that dissipated right there. But my relationship with music videos is I don't really have the same nostalgia for them. Like, I'm talking about the golden age of music videos in the 80s, as a lot of people our age do. So I think that I probably see them in a different way. Some of them I like more, some of them I like less, maybe because of that, I guess.
Chelsea?
Certainly MTV, but I guess when I really started to pay attention or where it mattered was like TRL. So this is like mid to late 90s. You come home from school every day, and you'd have to see who was on that countdown. You'd freaking call that line, make sure NSYNC was number one all the time.
When I was a kid, our little town, we didn't get MTV until like 1987. So videos for us, I remember HBO used to show them in between movies sometimes. Every once in a while, NBC would have Friday night videos, I think is what it was.
I seem to remember that too.
You could have access through your NBC affiliate unless they were censored. And then through basic cable, I think USA Network had Radio 1990 and Night Flight, and so they showed a lot of music videos there. So that's kind of how I consumed them as a kid. I don't know, they were kind of impactful to me. I mean, it gave me a visual connection to the song, and being a visual person, it's some of those iconic scenes and videos are kind of branded into my head. When I hear the song, it evokes certain things. I mean, I hear that as much as I don't care for the song, from Police, with the candles, with Sting knocking down all those candles. I mean, that was a pretty significant thing. Eurythmics, the striking haircut by Annie Lennox for the time was so jarring. Culture Club.
She looks just like the robot soul singer that she is.
Right.
Yeah.
Culture Club, Boy George. I mean, that was a look. Cyndi Lauper's crazy hair. Those are some things where video definitely kind of carried that music imagery on and on and on and on. So that for me, videos were a big deal. Mm-hmm. So. Just as a little trivia kind of thing, and this isn't really Q&A trivia, but there's some significant music videos that were directed by big name film directors. And so if any of these names sound familiar to you, let me know. Michael Jackson's Bad was directed by Martin Scorsese.
Really?
Really.
Well, Landis did Thriller, right?
That motherfucker.
Which we'll talk about that in just a second. That will lead off our discussion of significant videos. David Lynch has done several music videos. Probably the most well known of his would be Wicked Game by Chris Isaak.
Or Vogue.
Then you've got Fell in Love with a Girl by Michelle Gondry by the White Stripes. Tim Burton directed a music video by The Killers. I don't know if you've ever seen Here With Me. It stars Winona Ryder, and if it's like if Lars and the Real Girl were directed by Tim Burton.
Okay.
It's about this really creepy guy who goes and sees this, I don't know if it's like a live show or a burlesque show or some sort of stage show. And Winona Ryder's the star, and she's signing autographs after the show, and he's just standing there just staring at her. Everybody else is taking selfies and cell phone pictures. she doesn't pay him any attention, and after the crowd clears out, there's like this wax figure of her, and the guy steals it, and she becomes real to him.
Oh wow!
And it's kind of creepy and perfectly Tim Burton. But the one I wanted to talk about the most, though, is a director that people know for film who really cut his teeth in music videos, and it's David Fincher. David Fincher directed a lot of music videos going back to 1985 with Rick Springfield. I mean, so his early career is just littered with big name music videos, including the works of Paula Abdul, Say You Will by Foreigner. Chelsea, you're going to love this one. He directed She's Like the Wind by Patrick Swayze.
Oh, fuck yeah.
He directed the Johnny Hates Jazz Shattered Dreams video. He did the Madonna Vogue video, Express Yourself. The list goes on and on.
Oh, that's an impressive career just as a music video director. Wow.
MTV's most broadcast music video, Rock the Cradle of Love by Billy Idol. He directed that one. He directed Janie's Got a Gun by Aerosmith. He directed Freedom 90 by George Michael. A great music video. So I just wanted to bring him up specifically just because it's a big name director who is extremely successful, very well liked, very well respected, who obviously put in his time in the short video format. There you go. That's your
one that I just recently discovered. Remember that music video I showed you with the girls on the roller skate? Looks like one continuous shot.
Yeah.
Okay. You know the movie Guava Island? That was like it was at Amazon or Netflix, but it had Donald Glover and same director.
Okay, cool. So yeah, that's the kind of thing that, you know, as a kid, as a teen, I didn't pay attention to, and I don't really think that the big name directors that were attached to certain music videos were really discussed a lot either. I mean, maybe it's something more.
Is it even part of the classical like informational thing in the bottom corner, directed by
here? So, because I'm younger, in the 90s, MTV had a dumb show, but it was called like Making the Video. So they go behind the scenes with some of these big name directors and say how they made it. But then the other one is they would like take unknown people and put them in, like recreate the music video, and they talk a lot about that kind of stuff too. But yeah, it's in there.
It's funny that like my brain just totally glossed over that and didn't even remember it as part of the...
Yeah, it's like I said, it wasn't really something that they remarked on, like the music VJs, as they called them. You know, I don't think they really talked a lot about the directors unless it was something significant like...
In my era.
Unless it was something significant like Thriller, which kind of leads us to our first biggie. Joey, you brought it up. Tell me your thoughts on Thriller.
I think that it's probably the OG cinematic music video. Firstly, certainly not the first, but like as terms of just, you know, big mainstream, it's, you know, it's the 80s blockbuster of music videos, and it's about movies. The song is about movies, so...
Directed by John Landis.
That motherfucker.
Who should be rotting in prison.
Yeah, he really fucking should.
The special effects makeup, the werewolf transformation, that was done by Rick Baker, the
genius,
legendary special effects makeup artist who did American Werewolf in London with John Landis. So.
That motherfucker.
I had a friend who she, shout out to Colleen, she was so traumatized by the Thriller video when she was a kid that even as an adult, she would leave, like run screaming from the room when it came on.
Oh my God.
Like VH1 or whatever.
Wow.
You know?
Wow.
So, yeah.
I was telling you guys off mic when I was a kid. I mean, this was like third grade for me when Thriller came out, and we were in music class, and we had a kid in our class whose mother would rent videos for us to watch in class, and so she had gotten a copy of the making of Thriller. So we watched that as our music class for the day, which didn't have a whole lot to do with music. But so yeah, that was a neat, big music video that had a lot of production value, and even to this day, it still kind of stands out as one of those cornerstones in terms of cinematic music videos. But I wanted to hear from each of you in terms of what you think are some of your favorites and why you consider them a cinematic music video, what's significant about them, Joey, you're the guest. You get to go first.
Well, I chose 5 of them that I end up watching a lot and that I like a lot. So this is not in any way, shape, or form supposed to be some sort of best of list. This is purely subjective. I guess I'll go with my first one, and these are in no particular order. But the first of my 5 is by Alabama Shakes, and it's the video for a song called Sound and Color, which is a song. It's very imagistic, but it's sort of about being amazed by the sights and sounds of the world and yet being very lonely. And there's a refrain that just goes, I want to touch a human being. So the video takes place aboard a space station or a spaceship which is orbiting what appears to be Earth, and a man comes out of cryogenic storage basically and stumbles around the ship. He starts getting kind of bombarded by images of what we assume is his past, a wife and a child and whatnot, and we don't know exactly what, but something has gone horribly wrong. Like he was either asleep for centuries too long, longer than he was supposed to be, or there's no one there that he can contact for whatever reason, so he's kind of all alone, sitting in a tin can, as David Bowie might say. And I find it very poignant, and it's a good accompaniment to the song. And I think, like a lot of good cinematic music videos, it doesn't try to make the story of the song necessarily. It's just sort of a emotional imprint of like a accompaniment to it.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, I think I have some that kind of occupy that space as well. It kind of follows its own path, and the music is kind of incidental. Chelsea, what about you?
Well, this one is sort of a little bit narrative driven, but it's David Bowie, so it's also kind of weird. But I picked.
Oh, I think I know what you're gonna say.
Lazarus.
Yeah.
That one's rough.
Yeah.
Ooh.
I don't think I've seen it.
Yeah, you have.
Oh, okay, I have.
I know I showed it to you because when I saw it, I was freaked out because it was right before he died, and it's on this album that he made. Nobody knew he was sick, but he kind of acknowledges like, "Yo, peeps, I'm gonna die," and the music video is like him watching his own death, and it's stunning, but it's haunting, and that one just gut punched me.
Okay. I think now that you mention it, I might have seen it.
I know you have. I know I showed it to you.
Okay.
Because I showed it to everybody.
All right. Well, as Joey said, in no particular order, one of the music videos that always stood out to me as being truly cinematic in that it plays out just like a 1980s action Hollywood stunt scene is Stay the Night by Chicago. And it's not Chicago's greatest song.
They had a lot of...
And it's not a great music video.
Sing a bar or two of it.
Stay the night.
Okay.
With you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Don't edit that out.
Okay. And it starts out with this chick in a like a convertible. I want to say like a Cadillac convertible, and she's and Peter Cetera is trying to reason with her, and she's backing out, and she's gonna leave, and so he grabs onto the side of the car, and she's like dragging him along in Los Angeles, and he's like singing to her as he's hanging on for dear life under this car,
like his say anything moment, sort of. Yeah.
And I do believe that there are explosions. There might be like a car jumping over a ramp. That it might even be in the Los Angeles River. That cliche. So I bring that one up because it will lead into my next great cinematic music video.
I don't recall seeing this, but I am going to watch it tonight.
It is cheesy as all. It
my...
is cheesy as all hell, but it looks like it could very well have been embedded into an episode of The Fall Guy.
Yeah.
All right, Joey, give us another one.
So this was an accident. So the song that I just chose was called Sound and Color. And I didn't plan this, but there's one called Sound and Fury also on my list. And this is an album by Sturgill Simpson, who's like a neo-traditionalist country guy. But then on his 4th album, I think, in maybe 2018 or 2019, kind of threw a curveball. There's like a psychedelic, funky blues sort of hard rock album called Sound and Fury. There's I think it was a Netflix original, an anime film basically accompanying the album, and again it sort of tells the story of the album, but it's about a post-apocalyptic samurai who's fighting against this Mad Max style overlord, and it's real trippy.
I think I watched this.
It's good. You can watch the individual videos. If you want to watch just one, I would suggest the one for the song called Ronin. But the whole album, there's a movie that accompanies the whole album, and I guess that counts as a music video for
Heck
this
yeah, it does.
for this countdown.
Chelsea.
All right, this is kind of a weird one, but like, I want to see this made into a movie because I just want to know. It's Coffee and TV by Blur.
I almost put this on my
I
list.
fucking love that music video. With the little milk carton.
Describe the video. I know this song, but I don't know if I've ever seen the video.
It is all shot ground level from the point of view of this little carton of milk. He's got eyes and arms.
He's so cute.
And it's his journey around town.
It's
How
amazing.
have I not seen this?
You must
It's
watch
like
it.
through happenstance that he finds his way to. I think he meets his mate.
Yeah.
His mate with it. Yeah, but it's kind of like the a spin on the missing person on the
wow.
milk
Yeah.
carton. He becomes the missing milk carton throughout the story.
It's brilliant.
Wow, Britpop still has little gems that I have not yet discovered. Wow.
Right? I did not name the director of the Chicago video because he was the director of my next one. His name is Bob Giraldi, and he's done a lot of other music videos and some television, but the other video that he directed that I would like to mention is by Lionel Richie, Hello. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if you're familiar with this video, but Lionel Richie is a college professor, and there is a blind girl who is a sculptor, and he's obsessed with her. She has his attention, and at the end of the video, like, she's sculpted what she thinks he looks like, even though she can't see him.
Does it look like
It looks
him?
just like him.
Oh, wow.
And
It's like creepy, like face touching.
and Chelsea's laughing because I've made fun of this video, even though I do love it, is because at the end, it's like when she reveals this, there's like this Lionel Richie does this take to the camera like,
It's so fucking funny.
Man, my parents really did me a disservice in the 80s there. Wow.
Oh shit!
No.
No, it doesn't matter. I found this later. It's still fucking solid gold.
It
It's
All of
great.
this just cultural gold.
It holds
yeah.
up. It holds up.
Wow.
It is a true cinematic romance kind of thing. And while I'm on the topic of Lionel Richie, Dancing on the Ceiling should be mentioned, not just because it's a great video, but it is a callback to a cinematic sequence of where they take the room and they rotate it in a barrel, and everyone looks
They're
like they're
literally
walking
dancing on the ceiling.
Yeah. So, Joey, what you got next?
All right. Well, this one actually kind of, I guess, would make a good double feature with the Lionel Richie video you just said. So let me set the mood here. About once a month, when I'm in a drinking mood, usually, I'll subject my family to, we're going to do music night. We'll all sit around and, everybody will make a choice, and usually we'll do this via YouTube, which means I have to end up listening to like Slayer or Metallica every third song because my 10-year-old is currently in a thrash metal phase.
It's okay.
But
I'll let it go.
at a certain point in the night when the kid goes to bed, if it looks like it's moving in a certain direction, if you catch my drift, I will put on some Sade.
Oh yeah.
And there's a video of Sade's for Is It a Crime? And it's sort of cinematic. I almost didn't include it on this because there's a performance element. The band is sitting around playing, she's singing, but there's a very definite narrative arc. And it involves this douchebag who looks like a just 2-bit hood from a bad gangster movie, who Sade is waiting for, and he's trying to make it across town in a taxi throughout the whole video. Long story short, she leaves just as he gets there and sees a message that she's left for him in the fog on the window. And I always end up thinking, it's a great video and a great song, but I always end up thinking, Sade, honey, you can do so much better than this douchebag. So, Sade's Is It a Crime is on my list.
Okay. I'm not familiar with that one.
Watch it and tell me if there's any way in real life that Sade would have looked twice at this motherfucker.
Okay. And listener, I know you're out there. I'm going to make every attempt to create links to all the videos that we mentioned to today's episode, so you do have some context if you're interested. Chelsea, what's up for you?
All right, so this is a band I'm sure neither one of you have heard of, although I showed this to you when we were talking about this episode originally. It's a brother and sister duo. It's called Angus and Julia, or they are called Angus and Julia. And the song is called Big Jet Plane. And it's about this, like, the video starts with this girl who's working in what looks like a grocery store, like a CVS or something. And the song is just about getting out and moving on and just sort of her kind of daydreaming about things, but you never get to see the daydream. It's all within her face and in her eyes and just sort of the things she does. And it's so good. I love it.
I'll watch all these at some point in the near future, and that will be brand new to me. That's cool.
I'm going to bring up another early 80s hit. It's by Glenn Frey, Smuggler's Blues. This was directed by Duncan Gibbons, who also directed Careless Whisper by Wham. It inspired an episode of Miami Vice in which Glenn Frey guest starred in the episode. It just as the song, and
that might be peak 80s.
It is peak 80s. I mean, unlike the other videos we were talking about where the video is independent of the audio, this one is the video adaptation of the song. Clearly, he's singing about a drug bust that happens at the hands of some drug trafficking, and things go wrong, and he's in prison now because of it. And it's a fun, stupid video, and the music video does play just like a Miami Vice episode. And so it's almost like one of these proof of concept kind of deals where he's like, can I be on your show? And I present my evidence, and they're like, yeah, you can be on the show. So I position that one as one of our cinematic music videos. I think we got a few more left in our lists, but I think we can take a break. I think it's a good time to take a pause for the cause.
I, for one, need to refill my beer.
And I think Joey is ready to fire up the band and sing, let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby and get ourselves some
jams? I don't know.
Jam. Some jam. Good one.
I got there.
America! Demand your MTV! Call your cable company and say, I want my MTV!
Everybody good?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, are we recording this time?
We're recording this time,
Oh,
Chelsea.
wow, he did it again, Chelsea.
And we're back. Thank you for bearing with us during the intermission. Hopefully you listened to some music videos at the break. And when we come back from intermission, sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes we like to check in a themed beer. And today's themed beer is from New Anthem in Wilmington, North Carolina. It's called Strange Spot in the Sky. Not only is the can art very cinematic in a sci-fi kind of way, it looks like a big spaceship launching, but that strange spot in the sky reminded me of the Police song King of Pain, the little black spot on the sun today.
It just makes me
There's
think
a
of
little black spot on
Black
the
Hole
sun
Sun.
today.
Oh, Black Hole Sun too, yeah. Joey, I think we kind of finished up our first three picks, and it's back to you.
It is back to me. I have two here that I kind of wanted to mention, and I couldn't decide which direction I wanted to go with the one I was going to save for number one, so I'm going to cheat and do two. So the first one is a favorite of my kids, which I've seen this video 1,000 times. There's an Australian band called King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard.
Yes.
And he got really into him because they did like a throwback thrash metal album a few years ago called Into the Rat's Nest, I believe. But the rest of their stuff is kind of decidedly softer and more psychedelic. And so the song If Not Now When has a very cinematic video. It's kind of an anime style animation, and the story involves a girl who a meteor crashes into her bedroom, and she finds a little piece of the meteor, which is, I guess, like a black hole or a singularity, which fits into her palm, and then she's able to like sort of suck matter and things into it, so she kind of sucks up the essence of everything around her, and it gets kind of out of control. So it's cool. It's worth a watch.
A lot of anime in your your library. Have you seen Interstellar?
I have not.
The film with the Daft
so
Punk
fun.
music videos.
Yeah. I thought you meant the movie Interstellar. No. Yeah.
Interstellar.
Yes.
555.
Yeah.
It's all of those videos pieced together into some sort of linear narrative, and it's quite good. And crank up the music. Chelsea, what you got?
I don't know if this counts, but it sticks out to me, and I want to see more, and maybe more of him and more of his take on things, I guess. Childish Gambino, This Is America.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yeah, the gunshot
Yeah.
scene in that one kind of sticks with me.
Yeah.
Definitely some beautiful
There's elements.
set pieces throughout that video.
And just his movement, so I guess you could say like cinematography and those types of things, the way they capture it is...
The breakdown videos that are on YouTube for that music video are incredible.
Yeah, it's amazing.
It's a very well done music video for sure. I thought you were going to say Summer.
No, because that's just cartoons of like famous
people.
Well, famous black people,
in his
honestly, and it's
neighborhood, yeah.
great. It's fucking great, but no.
Oh, right. My next one I'm going to go with is, speaking of hands and things happening with hands, I went with Everlong by the Foo Fighters.
I almost chose that.
I
yeah.
freaking love that music video. It's so atmospheric. It's got a very David Lynch kind of feel to it. It's a fever dream kind of thing. And
Kind of harkens back to Thriller some too, with like sort of the horror movie kind of campy.
Yeah, there's some horror elements to it. You've got your backwoods hillbillies, and you've got the girl in peril, and then of course honorable mention, I think Learning to Fly is another cinematic piece for them.
That's fun.
Where you really get to see Dave Grohl's personality come out, and the world gets to see just how cool he is. So, yeah, that's my pick. Joey?
Well, I had an extra one. I had my 5, and so my cheat one is I can barely watch this video. There's a band called Purple Mountains, and features David Berman, who was in Silver Jews, and a couple of other 90s white boy indie rock bands. And he committed suicide maybe 2 years ago. Part of the reason that, I mean, not to blame it on her, but like part of the reason that his life was kind of crumbling was because his wife, who was also in his band, had left him. And there's a video for the song on his last album called Darkness and Cold. And it's like that life or art imitating life thing that you talked about. And in the video, the song is about watching the love of his life prepare to go out on a date, basically, and his real life wife is in the video. And it just gets really creepy knowing that not long after this was shot, what happened. And I mean, I can barely watch it, but it's great, and the song it's a great song too. So yeah, Purple Mountains, Darkness and Cold is my cheat pick.
Nice. Chels?
Hang on, I gotta write this down.
Okay. Or you can just wait for me to program all the links in our...
You could just... I'm not waiting that long. All right. I too also have kind of a cheat.
I've got a couple more, so yeah, sure.
Because I don't think anybody likes her. I know you don't. Is Tori Amos, music video for Spark, where starts with her in a car. She's blindfolded. She's got her hand tied, and it's her like escaping this situation, and this guy like chasing her. She's just like running through the woods, like getting out of who's ever kidnapped her. And I'm just like, what the fuck happened here?
Wow.
Yeah.
It's not on my list, but that makes me think of Prodigy's Smack My Bitch
Oh,
Up.
I thought about that one too.
I thought this one did better.
Okay.
But I thought the same thing.
Yeah. Smack My Bitch Up shows up in several lists if you look up cinematic videos, because it's got the twist ending, but it is kind of a provocative piece, because
the twist is she's a chick.
Yeah, of course, and I guess at the time that was kind of a shock ending, but the video is very effective in that it does get you riled up and get you angry, about the subject matter.
I remember this came out when I was in college, and they made this big deal on MTV, and we, for whatever reason, we just happened to be watching it. And they were like, we're probably only going to show this video one time. And so we watched it, and we were like, whoa, there's titties on MTV now.
The one that I had down as my kind of honorable mention pick was Stan by Eminem.
Yeah, I had that on my list. I toyed with it.
I don't know that I've seen this video.
You should watch it.
Are you familiar with the song? I mean,
Yeah, I know the song.
So basically, he's Rupert Pupkin from The King of Comedy. He's an obsessive fan who is writing to his hero, and the hero is finally getting around to writing back, and things escalate into this whirlwind.
It's crazy,
and it's very much like King of Comedy.
Devin Sawa, the guy from Final Destination, plays Stan in the music video and does a fucking great job.
Yeah, it's a cool video, and it's one that, because I steered clear a lot of popular music at that time, it was relatively new to me. Like,
You're such a fucking hipster.
I know, right?
I have the same experience. Like from like about 1997 to about 2010. If it was something more or less mainstream, I don't know it very well because I was so far up my own ass. And
yeah, exactly. And
I'm still working on my indie rock merit badge.
I can admit that my quest for street cred
Jesus
made
Christ.
me miss.
You
some
missed some
stuff.
great shit then.
And I will admit that I've missed some really cool stuff because of that attitude. There is some good new modern stuff out there. Joey, any other honorable mentions that come to mind for you?
I have a dishonorable mention.
Okay.
I think this is kind of the emblematic. This is emblematic of like when the cinematic music video goes wrong, and it's just too over the top and bloated. And it's that Guns N' Roses trilogy from the Use Your Illusions album.
Yep.
Which would have been one really goddamn good album, but as two albums, there's a lot of filler. Mm-hmm. But I think the trilogy, I know it's November Rain, obviously, Estranged, and I think the third one is Don't Cry.
Okay.
I like
but they are just over the top cinematic videos. You know, Axl's most masturbatory, self-indulgent. But we do get that image of Slash, like, you know, ripping a solo on the hood of that classic Mustang, which is pretty fucking cool.
That's pretty cool.
But other than that, I would argue...
I mean, Stephanie Seymour, that's okay.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I agree with you. That's indulgence gone just too far. Any others, Chelsea?
Yeah, I actually have like a last one. And I only because I found this out when I was looking up this video. I did talk about it briefly at the beginning. It's Chet Faker Gold, the roller skating one.
Okay.
It basically starts out with him like singing in a car, and then it cuts to this like road and you can't see anything, and this girl just starts roller skating down this fucking highway. It's dark at night. And then two other girls come, and it's just this long continuous shot as the song goes on, and then you come back to the car and you're just sort of perplexed, and then the song ends. It's really fucking strange, but the long shot's really cool.
And the artist's name is
Chet Faker.
Chet Faker?
Faker. I don't know how you say it. It's Faker. I might be saying it wrong.
I'm asking you for the sake of me being able to find it. Okay. I'm surprised you didn't mention Kiss Me More by Doja Cat.
You did mention it when we were chatting before the podcast.
Doja.
You mentioned Doja. Kiss Me More, I think, is a great cinematic music video because it kind of harkens back to the Barbarella cheesy sci-fi.
yeah.
Wait, I have a question. As an almost 50-year-old white man, are Doja and Doja Cat two separate people?
No, I just say because I recently found out that like Doja is like weed slang or something. And so I like to just say that because it makes me feel cooler.
Only people who know her really well get to call her Doja. And,
Only her besties.
And Chelsea is one of them. But if you've never seen the video, Joey, it's this hot young Asian guy who's like a astronaut.
God, he's so sexy.
And he's exploring, and he comes across these plants, and he's boating down this little river, and the plants are making him small, or no? They're
just making him hallucinate because I think they're just actually large.
Yeah, because Doja and her co-singer, is it SZA?
Yeah,
they're giant, and ultimately he passes out and he wakes up and he's inside of a jar.
It's fucking awesome.
And it's the two of them playing like Xbox or PlayStation, and they have this menagerie of men behind them in these jars.
But the colors and stuff, it's very anime looking.
And it reminds me of some very cheesy 60s sci-fi.
Like, yeah.
Very Technicolor.
It's fun.
So I mentioned that one just because it is a fun video, and it evokes those images of sci-fi. So there you go. Well, that's our crash course on cinematic music videos. I'm curious if any of the listeners have anything that we've left behind, anything on the cutting room floor.
You're fucking at me.
Yeah, you could do 25 episodes of this.
Oh, yeah. There's
Sure.
tons.
Yeah.
And, I mean, to be fair, it's a little bit subjective because
Oh, it is.
you're involving music.
Absolutely. As Joey let off
Yeah.
with a lot of country music or country fringe type.
Adjacent.
There are some great country music videos that I could have mentioned, but I'm going more with that true MTV pop rock kind of thing just because it's more central to the music video genre. But
I think
there's
that,
plenty out there.
What you were saying, like we think of like the 80s as the golden age of the music video, and certainly they were more in the public consciousness then, but like bands that are making music right now are making some amazing fucking videos, but nobody ever sees them except their core fans.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean that's what YouTube is here for us, I
I'm wondering
guess.
if that's kind of what has heightened the art again, because now it's not so shoved down your throats, and it's not expected of artists anymore. They have to put this care into it. They're going to do it.
That's a great point, because ultimately a music video was nothing more than a vehicle to sell records, and that's what it was used for. And MTV was kind of in cahoots with the record labels that
they capitalized the shit off of it.
and they would put the videos out for the records that needed to sell, and they would put them in these ridiculously heavy rotations where sometimes they're playing twice an hour. And now, like you said, this is stuff that you have to seek out for yourself, which really speaks to the artistry of it, of an artist, a musician putting out a music video for the fans, for people who actually want to see their stuff. I think it definitely lends more legitimacy to the video as kind of a short film art form. So I applaud anybody who's out there making music videos today and doing it just for the love. So good on you. And that's going to close out the discussion. Like I said, bring it up to us on social media or on cinemachopshop@gmail.com. If we left anything out, let us know. We'll give you credit in the future episodes. Joey, seen any movies lately that you want to talk about?
Well, one that kind of dovetails with this episode, I just watched a music documentary on Chet Baker called Let's Get Lost. And it's a brilliant, great documentary, and it dovetails with this not just because it's about music, but also you just mentioned the band called Chet Faker.
It's just a guy.
Yeah. It's a brilliant documentary, but I kind of wish I hadn't watched it.
Okay.
Because it's that whole thing that, like, when your musical heroes or your any
heroes.
artistic heroes, is probably sometimes better just not to know that they're giant assholes. So brilliant doc, but yeah, I wish I hadn't watched it.
Chelsea, how about you?
No, all I have in my head is The Breakfast Club right now.
That's okay, and that's a good thing to have in your head.
I guess.
Joey, you probably know what I'm going to mention because I blew your mind on Twitter.
Yeah, you did.
We watched the menu.
Oh yeah, duh. What the fuck am I doing?
The menu was great. Travis Cito talked about it on our best 22 of 22 episode. Excuse me. We were a little late to the game on watching it, but really, really entertaining movie. I thought it was fun.
I thought it was great.
And then I made a few astute observations. I'm not the only one, and I can't take full credit for the inspiration.
I think you just did.
No. Red Letter Media did a great job recapping it as well, drawing the parallels between this film and Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. So,
which would just seem like a coincidence, except for the fact that you mentioned there's a scene which seems like the mise-en-scene. It seems like it's a direct nod to What was that? Was
when she goes into his office and he's at his typewriter, and you have the ticking of the clock. It is a flipped image of Charlie visiting Gene. We're talking about the Gene Wilder version, of course, in his office, and he's leaning on the typewriter with his little, hand on his chin kind of pose that you've seen in memes. So there are very clear nods to Willy Wonka. So I think that it had to have been intentional, and there are some parallels between some of the characters. So anyway, that was a fun movie I've watched. Joey, anything else?
I watched. This is one of those things that really was a lot better than I thought it was going to be. Paired with something that was a lot worse than I thought it was going to be. I saw Prey finally.
Yeah,
the Predator one, and if I piss off any Predator fanboys, then fuck y'all anyway.
Just at me.
It might be the best film in the Predator pantheon.
Good call. Travis and I both mentioned it in our top 22. It's a fun movie, and it was a fun, refreshing take on a very, as I called it, a very tired franchise.
Yeah, and the other one that this is a movie that had kind of accrued some sort of mystique over the years in my mind. I'd heard people whose taste in movies influenced my own wax poetic about this movie. I just knew it was going to be brilliant. The Holy Mountain, Alexandro Jodorowsky's 1972.
Oh yeah. Didn't do it for you?
No. I thought it was going to transcend that, transgressive, imagistic film thing, and it just didn't.
Okay.
And I wish I hadn't watched it.
That's two you wish you hadn't watched.
Yeah.
It's a bummer.
Chelsea, anything else?
No, I couldn't remember the menu. What the fuck?
Sorry. I will bring up The Fabelmans. That was...
I want to see that.
Probably, in my meager opinion, it's the best Spielberg movie since Catch Me If You Can. I thought it was quite well done. There were still sloppy directing flaws in the film, which I think Spielberg hands off so much of it to other people, and just basic stuff like you wouldn't do a close-up on, I call him Steven Spielberg, you wouldn't do a close-up on that character and see contact lenses in the era in which it was shot. And so I'm like, somebody should have said, take your contacts out for this shot, please. But no, it's too big and bloated. But anyway, I don't want to bag on it because I thought it was a really good movie. I
this
it.
really speaks to the quality of Shawn's at-home theater setup, that he can see contact lenses in someone's eyes.
It's an extreme close-up. You can't miss it. But there's also some continuity errors that I thought were pretty sloppy. But outside of that, I thought it was, albeit a bit, sappy and nostalgic. But that's what it was. You know that going into it. It's a nostalgia film. It's his kind of...
It's his American Graffiti.
Yeah, it's his memory of what it was like growing up and falling in love with film.
Yeah, I think a lot of his movies just invoke nostalgia in you, whether you like it or not.
Yeah, so I think that it was good. I enjoyed it. I would recommend people watching it. So there you have it.
Also, I'm still thinking about Rocky and if I liked it or not.
Well, stay tuned, listeners. We're going to be doing a part 2 to boxing films eventually. We've got to
really
finish.
Torn.
We've got to finish out. I think Chelsea wants to see Rocky 2 and 3, and then The Harder They Fall.
No, you got to see Rocky 4, though.
No, God.
I'm not saying it's a great movie, but
I'm just doing all of the Rockies at this point.
You got to see Rocky 4 because it's when you see what became of the Rocky franchise,
Yeah.
Okay.
But
it's not a great movie.
So yeah, looking ahead, we've got some fun episodes lined up. Keeping in vein with this cinematic music videos, we're going to do cinematic video games in a few weeks with a special guest who we're waiting on him to be able to interact with the rest of the world. He's in.
I also think we should wait until more episodes of a certain show that just dropped come out so we can talk about that.
Yep. Other movie-related episodes, I think we're going to do tree movies. We're going to do liar movies. So we've got some fun ones coming up that we've discussed. So pay attention and, stay tuned and download and whatever the hell you want to do. Joey, plug something for us.
I don't have anything much to plug at the moment, but stay tuned.
Yeah? Okay. You got something in the works?
I think so, yeah.
Nice. Chelsea, you want to plug anything for us?
I mean, I guess you just, shouldn't lie to people. You just shouldn't. John Hughes.
Okay. What did John Hughes do to lie to people?
Because Saturday School is not like the
Saturday
fucking
School.
Breakfast Club. God.
Okay, I got you. speaking of John Hughes, listening to the Record Store Day podcast, shout out to that podcast. They had the children of the Wax Trax record store owners and the Wax Trax record label. They were on to talk about the heyday of Wax Trax records, and John Hughes wanted to use Wax Trax records in Pretty in Pink, the record store scene, and which is kind of a tie-in to our great episode about the Vinyl Nation documentary.
Oh, my bestie.
Yeah. So they wanted to use the actual record store, but they had something going on that day, and because of the length of the shoot, it actually would have cut into their profits to the point where it was counterproductive to do it. So John Hughes made essentially his own record store in the style of the legendary Wax Trax records of Chicago.
For Pretty in Pink.
Yeah. So that was kind of neat. And the daughter was on to testify that, yes, all of the flyers and posters and pamphlets that were at the cash register were indeed from Wax Trax records. So they kind of carbon copied that for the movie. That's kind of neat. Well, then, if no one else has anything else to plug, we're just going to get out of here and go drink and
warm up. It's cold.
Is it cold in here?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm freezing.
I think I've had enough of the high graph beer that I'm fine.
That's fair.
Yeah. All right. So enjoy the rest of your weeks and enjoy the rest of your winters and all that crap. But please do pay attention to what we've got coming down the pipeline. Hopefully we'll do something that you like. And if we don't, let us know. We'll be glad to do something that you like.
Maybe.
And tell us on social media. We're Cinema Chop Shop on everything except for YouTube, where we are Cinema Chop Shop Podcast. Rate, review, subscribe, tell your friends.
Tell your mom.
Tell your mom. And most importantly, please remember to watch, chop, retrofit. Watch a music video.
Or two.